I got arrested in the 7th grade. I spent the night in the 61st precinct on
For what?
Coney Island Avenue, drunk and disorderly, obstructing traffic, perjury, and assaulting an officer. I spent the night in the 61st
At like 13?
precinct. Yeah, about 13. I was taller than you.
Right.
And
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you the greatest show on earth. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
Dude, AI, are we rolling?
Yeah, we are.
AI, man. I mean, especially for people like us, eventually it's just going to write blogs.
yeah.
I think it already is.
Yeah.
I just watched Moonfall. AI gets pretty hairy, just so you know.
Moonfall
It's a true
is
story.
American.
Did you know that?
Moonfall is an American cinematic classic, first of all.
They're already fucking with it in college campuses. They're doing that.
I'm sure it's writing papers and writing music
I read a
and
pretty
writing.
powerful thread on it, though.
Oh, did you?
Yes,
A thread.
I did, yeah.
A powerful thread.
Yeah,
that
I
right
did.
there is an oxymoron.
It really isn't. It really isn't at all. But it actually, like, I was like, oh yeah, good point.
Well, meaning
'Cause
what?
It was basically like
That it's not going to replace everything.
what we're doing, like the fear where it's like it's going to replace writing, it's going to replace this, and the person was like, it's the scene in fucking Good Will Hunting where they're in the Boston Common, and he's like, I asked you a question. I asked you a question about war. I bet you can tell me all about Shakespeare, but you never held your friend's head in your hand while he died.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah,
But
it doesn't have
also-
a human emotion.
Sure, but then there's also just like the practical application where you can like.
Oh, it'll be great to write emails, and it'll be great to write college papers, but you
But
can't
that's what I
write
mean,
a
though.
fucking story with that.
I don't know. I think you can now. I
dude,
think
you
can
kinda-
describe having, like, I've never had my friend's head in my hand, but I watched Band of Brothers and The Pacific back to back or whatever, and now I think I can
do it.
pretend I was there. And then I can teach a computer to pretend that it was there. I mean, I cry all the time.
I mean, this is a very, very basic example, but I watched a guy. He's using whatever that new app is, and he said, "Write me a new storyline for a new Zelda game." And he wrote like a 2-paragraph like synopsis of what I was like, that's a pretty fucking awesome Zelda game.
Right.
And if you can just have it do, obviously that's a 2-paragraph thing as opposed to building the whole game. But I would imagine, this app that people are playing with is much smaller than these major computers that can do it. I just think computers are smarter than people in every way.
Well, I
they're
won't
better.
disagree with you there.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one.
So if you give them all the ability, like, and yeah, like, I'm not saying it's gonna like, it's not gonna be the end of the world, but it might be the end of college kids writing papers.
Yeah, and as well it should be.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, why are we even
once
doing
you-
this shit?
College is unnecessary. Once you get to high school, Mick. Yeah. Like once you get to
Largest
high
son
school,
is sitting in
you're
here.
about who you're gonna be.
I did this with my sister when she's 7 years younger than me, and I remember like every time she would fret about something like elementary school, I was like, "You're in 4th grade. It doesn't matter." And then I was like, "You're in 8th grade. It doesn't matter. You're only a junior in high school. It really doesn't matter. College doesn't count." I'm like, she's 30 years old. I'm like, "That's fine."
It really does. None of it matters. Nothing matters.
I'll tell you what matters, though. It's $52,000 a year.
Yeah. If you're lucky, man.
It's got to matter somewhere along the line.
Was there any part of you that was like not thinking about not paying for college?
Yeah,
or
so
not
there's still one.
not paying, but being like, you don't have to go if you don't want to.
Yeah, so I put that in front of all my kids, and Mick and I
And
were
you were
talking about it. Yeah, and so he had aspirations to go into the Coast Guard for a little while.
Right, I remember
So we
that.
went down to Cape May. We spent a couple of days down there. They were very, very nice to us. And then all of a sudden he changed. He was like, you know what? I just made Alabama. I think I want to try this out.
Say, you know what I'm
So
going
it
to do?
went from,
Chase
like,
chicks and
all of a
party for
sudden-
4 years.
Yeah, like Coast Guard, it was mapped for the rest of his life almost.
Yeah,
Right? And I
yeah.
had nothing to do with it. I just had to drop him off and maybe pick him up every now and again to the exact opposite. But
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know I'm very, very lucky. I have great kids.
Yeah.
So I was like, you deserve to do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so we did that. But, as we're going through, I went to, a Catholic university. We've all went, to those type of things. Seeing how this SEC thing works out. I don't know if it's built like my other kids are built for it.
Yeah,
Like my second one
right.
go alongs like that. I don't think I want to do that road. I'm like, no, not all colleges, University of Alabama,
Yeah.
Russian Pike.
Yeah, you
know what
can
I mean?
go to
Which-
fucking
yeah.
little like tiny school in the Northeast and just hang out with your
Yeah,
crew
be a
in a
little
coffee
bit
house.
closer and
Like,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
And then Bridget's going to go to St. Mary's School for the Blind, which is 20 minutes away from you. I'll pick her up and drop her off every day.
But did you ever consider being like, here's the $200,000 I would have given you?
Yeah, so that's what I
Like,
was thinking
go
about,
do your thing.
like, because I plan on trying to pay. I'm going to pay for my kids' college, but I'm like, is it even worth it? Is there a better use of the money? Is there a better use of your time? Some part of me thinks like when you're 18, you're too dumb to do anything. But I'm like, maybe you start investing in some, you do some social media shit and some video game shit and things that kids do with that money, and all of a sudden you have a career instead of just dicking around.
I think the only thing that it's good for nowadays, particularly people who are kind of white heterosexual males, I could say that, right? Because we all kind of are.
I don't know.
Is the connections that you make.
Yeah,
like
you
I
get
think there's
exposed to
something
new shit.
because as we see it, I say this in all honesty, as we applied for certain scholarships, there was just a no-go once they saw his name was Michael McCarthy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That's
You
just
just
the way
not
that
get-
it is
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now. That's
Yeah.
and it is what it is. But I think though, like the connections that you make, if you do, and that's one of the things that I put through him, you have to have good grades or else you just won't be there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like all his friends when we went out for the Mississippi State games, like, Mick took a lot of 8 o'clock classes. It's unbelievable he goes to all of them. I was like, yeah, because if he didn't, you wouldn't know Mick McCarthy. Right? Because he did.
By the
fucking-
way, I always thought that, like, to me, I took 8 o'clock class. I picked classes where attendance counted and they were early. And I just rolled my hungover ass out of bed because when you're 18, you can still fucking do that.
Yeah.
And I just got perfect attendance, and 25% of my grade was taken care of.
Yes.
Right away. Like, right off the bat. I was like, I'm already, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't think that way, but...
I thought the exact opposite way.
Yeah.
And I didn't
Everyone
go to
does.
classes.
he's done at noon most days. Like
yeah,
I try
and
to
that was
think
the other
about
thing, is
that.
that I'm done, and I'm like, let's fucking party.
Yeah, at 12 noon and 70 degrees.
Yeah,
Right? They didn't
yeah.
bring winter coats.
I always got such a kick out of how much more high school is real life than college. You wake up at like 7, you're in from like 8 to 3. That mimics the real world way more than college. I remember being like, man, Tuesdays are my tough days. I've got like a 10, a 1, and a 3. It's like, what is that?
And
Now
you
on my
could choose
Tuesdays
them.
and my tough days, I have a noon.
I got a kick out of that girl. Did you see? She went viral last week. I quote tweeted her. She put her Microsoft Outlook schedule up, and she was like, "I'm 31. I work for like $100 million company. Here's my schedule." And in the tiny Twitter picture, it looks like it's jam-packed, and she's working 7 days a week, 20-hour days. And then you look at it, and she schedules, like, wake up is on the schedule.
Right.
Get coffee is
Yeah.
on the schedule.
Yeah.
Go to the gym is on the schedule. So it looks like you're doing a lot. And then all the things in between were, like, 20-minute conversations with people. It's just like, you're just talking to people on the phone all day. This is not, show me the surgeon schedule who's like, in an 8-hour brain surgery, and then we'll talk.
I think everyone's schedule's pretty open. I think anyone who says they've been busy is a fucking liar.
Anybody who is anywhere to talk about how busy they are aren't busy because
Yeah.
they'd be doing shit.
Right.
If they were busy.
Sorry I didn't catch up. I've been busy. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to start yelling at kids off my lawn, but I watched Yellowstone the other day, and Dutton had said to Rip, I'll see you at 4. Meaning 4 a.m. because they're about to take a 2-day to bring like a 2-day trip to bring cattle down a mountain or some shit like that. And I remember when I used to set my clock for 4:45 during earnings, and I always thought like, wow, this is like when you have a 4 handle on your alarm clock.
Yeah.
And then for that 25 years where I was, and we spoke about this in great depth, where I was 9:30 to 4, which I think a lot of people would sign up for those hours, 9:30 to 4 trading. Not like entertaining people I didn't like 3 times a week or anything like that. 9:30 to 4 trading, that was never any question. You couldn't show up at 9:45 and you couldn't leave at 3:45. And I don't think that exists anymore.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
think like so every day if you were to look at my my schedule, it was 4:45 was just earnings, but it was like a 5:40 wake up, blah blah blah, and then 9:30 to 4 I
Every
traded.
time.
Every
No-
fucking
no
day. Nothing.
fucking
I never
questions
went
asked.
to lunch.
Yeah.
I never went to lunch in 25 years. Everything was always brought into us. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
When you trade, and I don't think that exists anymore. Like if
Even
you're
in
gonna
that
tell-
world? Even that world now?
I think in that world it does exist, but even that world now, guys, since the pandemic, had gotten the T4 lines into their houses and are trading out of their houses and stuff like that. So to answer your question, the floor is gone. That part, the Florida
Trading floor,
American
yeah.
is gone. The former American Stock Exchange doesn't exist anymore. The New York Stock Exchange
So
is
that's
the
not even
world's.
that's not even an
No,
option.
the building's gone, and then
Wow.
the New York Stock Exchange still exists, but it's like the greatest catering hall in New York
Sure.
City.
It's just like
Please
for
get that place.
you
Yeah,
know, who's ringing the bell that morning and all
Yeah.
that kind of shit, right? Yeah.
But if you could say, and listen, I did okay, right? Like I'm paying cash for the fucking college. I don't give a shit. But if you could say that if there's people out there that have a 25-year chunk of their life where they're 9:30 to 4, is set every day except for when you're on vacation.
Yeah.
I don't know if that exists
No.
anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And I feel
So I'm
like
saying I'm special.
Yeah.
I also think that we were on a good track to like that was loosening up, and I think people were figuring out a good balance and working from home. And then I think COVID just went hyperdrive, and now it's like if you ask people to come into the office, you're objecting to their human rights or something.
Right.
I think that's crazy that there's just like people who are like I kind of respect it. My buddy the Big Wheeze tweeted yesterday. He was like, I almost gotta respect Gen Z. Like they just truly don't give a shit about anything. They'll just be like, we are not coming to work, and then the employers are like, well, fuck, I don't know what to do now. I guess work from home. It's like they're the strongest union in the world. They're just like, we actually stand for these things.
Tough to compete with,
right?
Is it a small?
Yes, that true
job.
and the true like you press people. Up until this generation, you press any other generation, they would cave. They'll cave. The union will bend at 11:59 and go back to work, and these guys just don't. It's like, oh fuck.
How small of a percentage is that? Like, I wonder because we see that on social media and in the news and the quiet quitting, which I know is no longer a thing. But when you go into like Middle America, or you go, and I know we don't have any like fucking munitions plants anymore, where people are just like
working
cranking
at a
out bullets
factory
and shit like that.
Yeah.
But there is that type of industry that still exists, and I don't think that's sexy enough to make it onto your Twitter page, where it gets fucking retweeted by such a behemoth. So I don't know. I think it's skewed, and then these kids are gonna have such a fucking rude awakening when it isn't all like that. I'll find something. I'll get a job that I love.
Yeah.
I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I say that all the time. Like, me closing out my life doing this shit is the greatest thing in the world. And the path here is a little bit different than most people. To start this at 47 or 48, whenever I started this, is wild. Yeah, it's fucking wild.
Yeah, I mean it's. You're it. You're the only one. It's very rare to be able to say like you're the only person doing something that you're doing,
right?
And it's a little bit very specific. But to say like, I don't think there's another person near 50 leaving that type of industry and coming to this type of industry and doing what you're doing. You're the only person alive doing it.
Right, yeah.
Like
and
nobody,
awesome, you
have nobody to relate to.
did I interrupt you?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought I was echoing a sentiment. Asshole.
I mean, you have been great though. I mean, the boxing thing and the MMA stuff has been awesome. DAZN has been great.
Yeah. NASCAR, by the way.
NASCAR
loves Barstool now.
I mean,
so
that's a match made in heaven that always needed to happen one way or another,
right?
And having people take interest in it, and so is this public knowledge that you're doing this thing?
Yeah, so we'll do like a bigger announcement, but we announced it down. Spider and I had hosted the pre-show for the NASCAR awards, Rookie of the Year type shit.
Yeah.
And so we're bringing back Rubbing Is Racing, and they wanted to rebrand it. I said no. I don't think people, when Dave did it with Clint Boyer so many years ago, we've still kept up the social accounts and stuff, so it's no longer synonymous with Dave and Clint. I really like the name. So we're gonna start Rubbing His Racing weekly next year again. So the Clash at the Coliseum, which by the way, I mean, I know that you guys, it's all a hassle when we say come to a race, but the Clash at the Coliseum, where they take the Coliseum and they fill it with asphalt and they run a fucking NASCAR race inside of it. And like last year, Pitbull opened up, and then Ice Cube performed at halftime.
Mr. 305, Mr.
And
Worldwide.
then this year, Cypress Hill is opening up, and I think Snoop Dogg is going to halftime.
Cypress Hill, dude.
So I'm going to see. I saw Cypress Hill at Lollapalooza in '94, but I'll see Cypress Hill, Pitbull,
good for them,
Ice Cube, and Snoop Dogg in a year's time, and all because of NASCAR.
The three oldest motherfuckers in the world: Large, Cypress Hill, and Snoop, all still doing it, man.
But we're taking $1 million worth of game to that one. Which is going to be fucking
It's
wild.
like Mad Libs, dude. It's just inserting names and places and people.
But I think I'm the guy that's I'm going to take Spider out of production, I guess, and it's content. Because
were you always a NASCAR guy, or did you take it up? Yeah.
So when Dave had sort of his problems with NASCAR, and then Clint, who was his co-host, had decided to stop racing and went into the booth. He can no longer do anything with Barstool, obviously.
Okay.
So they just kind of let it die. I had gone. It was supposed to be me and Willie and I at at Daytona that year, and then Willie his wife got pregnant. He couldn't go. So jet ski and I went down there and we tore it up. Daytona is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
We stayed in the infield. Dave came down with Uber driver Debbie.
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
We did a show together on a stage for about an hour, and then Dave went off and did Dave things, and me and Jet Ski did other things. We got so deep in the weeds with moonshine and rednecks and all that we had just such a great time that when it was just sort of up for grabs the next season.
Yeah.
NASCAR is going to pay us to go to 6 or 7 races. Who wants to do it? Large, do you want to do it? Yeah, I definitely want to do it.
Yeah.
And Spider is an enthusiast. Spider has the love for
Yes,
it.
yeah.
So we did that for 2 seasons. So over the last 2 seasons, I've done, 15 or 16 races. And then this season, not to give away too much stuff, we're still going to do like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 races maybe. And then we're also going to do a weekly show.
That's awesome.
And it's a NASCAR type thing where they just want us to do whatever the fuck we want.
See, it's the perfect marriage for so many reasons because NASCAR
Right.
is obviously them and their audience is down for fucking whatever, right?
Whatever.
In a world where everything is getting tighter, they're just probably like rock out. Spider knows what he's talking about, and I can't think of a better liaison, if you will,
Yeah.
than like you could, as long as you have the passion for it, which you seem to have picked it up.
Yeah.
You are the best tour guide I could imagine to be like, come down and party and I'll have drinks and I'll show you this and
Right.
that and we'll talk about it and whether it's NASCAR or finance or food, drinks, whatever.
Right. Yeah, every person,
You're very good with that. I've seen you with clients before.
Oh,
and
there's nobody better.
I long to go to the school of large on how to deal with clients and how to. I remember we were at Legends, the bar on 33rd and 5th, I think, and it was DAZN. It was a midday boxing match in England. I want to say Anthony Joshua might have been fighting.
Joshua Usyk.
And I remember you were just sitting there talking to one of the DAZN guys, and it was so like getting a glimpse into like finance large, where it's like I'm gonna take every fucking penny from you. you're like every advertising dollar from the DAZN is coming to me, and I was like, look at large go, dude. Look at him go.
It's not wrong either, right? They ponied up.
They're back.
Yeah.
They're back
They
for
ponied
next
up in a
year.
big way,
Canelo hurt his hand, so he's not going till Cinco de Mayo. But
I mean, yeah. Well, if anything ever falls apart here, you have a spot in Canelo's camp.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know if you can spar with him
No,
or be
I'll
his
be in the back making sopapillas.
God, that was that body shot was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. When you were
Yeah.
just like, just trying so hard
And
to
you really
keep your
pissed blood
pride.
after that?
Yeah. And then I went, so my right kidney had shut down a month later, and I spent
Not
2
from
days.
that.
No, but I spent
Okay.
2 days in a hospital. They said you've had this kidney stone inside, like one of these like staghorn things inside your kidney, and something like dislodged it along the way. I was
No.
like, how long
I
ago
gotta
do you
guess.
think? Yeah, and then
Fuck you, Canelo. You gave me
Yeah.
kidney stones. You
Worse than
asshole.
gout.
Worse than gout?
The
Yeah.
kidney stone because my right kidney was blocked, and it was worse. It was worse than
I
I've
can't
had it all.
believe they don't have like some. We knock you out and we just go in there and quickly break it up and it's
Don't
gone.
they
they-
do that with ultrasounds?
But it's still that's
they-
like
they
to
get
get
banged
it better,
out.
right? But
So
it's,
it still has to swirl around and come out,
Ugh.
right? And so with me, this thing was lodged in. So that, and we spoke about this in the great. I showed you the video.
Yeah.
Of so they had to go in through my penis, which by the way isn't a huge, like palate to work on. It's fine on your body. It'd be like, wow, on mine. And then they leave the hardware in there.
Yeah,
and that's what I showed you guys.
bro, that
Remember when
picture.
they took that filament out?
it
that
just
was
went
tough.
yoink.
And I was
Ah.
just sitting there like like it was like a high pitched thing. So I don't reckon drink a lot of water or cranberry juice or something. Don't
I'll be
big.
honest. A little bit of gout and a kidney stone is probably I would sign for that. 25-year-old you signs
Right.
for that at 50 years old. I think that's a good.
Especially my lifestyle.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'd be surprised that you still have both kidneys. I'm surprised that
Right.
it's not just you haven't lost a couple
Harsh
limbs.
but fair. Yeah. No, I mean, I haven't
Well,
felt.
I
I haven't felt my pinky toe in a couple weeks, and this is the first time I'm telling you.
If they
Andy,
start
if you're
lopping off
listening.
appendages on large, I wouldn't be surprised.
Dude, I have this thing where when I sneeze, both my arms go numb.
Oh, yeah. That's the beginning of the end.
He also used to have this thing, and I'm happy to report that it kind of has not happened in a while. He would just be like talking in the middle of a podcast, and he would just be like, "Ah,
Oh, really?
eat,
Yeah.
oh,"
Dude,
and
my
his
lower
back would like
would be
lock
like-
up.
Really?
And and then it would be like 10 seconds, and he'd be like, "Okay, I'm good." But it was
like
great
intense.
entertainment.
It's happened since I was like in 5th grade. So I don't know what made it stop, but it did stop.
How old are you?
I am 34.
Right. I will tell you right now. How old are you?
38 in a couple.
I turned 50, so I'm about to turn
Bro,
51 next week.
You're announcing yourself as 38 already?
I do.
Born in March.
I've been saying 38 since I was 36.
Right.
I
Oh,
like
have
to
you?
stay ahead. 'Cause
Right,
Then
so do I.
I'm 40's fucking me up a little bit. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But
I will tell you right now, it's the 15th. My birthday's on Christmas.
Right.
So I'll turn 51 on Christmas. Christmas Day last year, when I turned 50, everything changed.
Really?
Everything changed for the worse. So if you I know everyone
Meaning
who's
your
like,
body, or?
yeah, everyone's like, 20, 21. I feel no different than when I was 18, 19. I think 30, you're like, I really don't feel any different. I'm telling you, it's that. So I've done it all. So 15, 30, whatever you want to say. 40 years old, I really don't feel that different. I feel like I still have my fastball. 50, everything's done. Everything's
Really?
done. Yeah, like.
But your fastball also, if you lose
yeah.
your fastball, you're still
you can still-
getting a 6-year, $180 million deal.
He's still
Yes.
paying
You can still
Yeah.
You're still throwing hard.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. No, but I'm telling you, guys will see. It's going to be, if you think the back thing, it's going to be a big time wake up call.
I know.
Man, don't
I
get old.
started to like genuinely.
Like, I keep looking into a dead camera. Don't get old. Yeah.
I've been saying it for a while, and I think I'm like, in order for me to fucking ever get starting to like work out or get healthy, it's like turning around a cruise ship. It's gonna take a while. But I remember talking to Jerry Ferrara, Turtle from Entourage, and this was like 5 years ago, and he's 5 years older than me, so he was my age now, and he was like, because he used to be Fat Turtle, and he was like, I needed to start like right then, or I was never gonna be able to. Like, he was like, I felt myself losing all of my like ability, and little things like, I took my kids to a trampoline party the other day, and just jumping on a trampoline, I was like, I felt uneasy
Yeah.
and weird, and like things that I've never been the most athletic guy, but I can still just go out there and throw a ball, jump on this, climb that, whatever. And
Right.
now all of a sudden I'm like, this is all getting too hard, and if I don't do something now, I will genuinely be fucked.
My son is tall. He's not as tall as me. He's never beat me one-on-one in basketball in the backyard. And we just moved, but our old house, we had a half court caged in the back. I used to have this big house. And ever since he was younger, I never let him beat me. I never let him beat me. Even as a little kid, I'd send his shit back a little bit just to do it. And then right before he went to school, it was very, very hot out too. It was like one of those real hot days. And he was up. And then I said, Mick, I don't know what it is. We never finished that game. So technically. And then whenever he comes back from school, hey, Dad, you want to go shoot? I'm like,
No,
no,
I'm good. I'm good.
So that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
Like, I know my limitations. Again, like I said, I honestly cannot feel my right pinky toe. And I'm not going to go get it checked out. Like a comedian had said this at some point. Like, that's just going to be for the rest of my life. I'll never
That's
feel my
it.
pinky toe.
That's
Louis
just
C.K.
it.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, that's going to hurt for the rest of my life. Yeah, I will never
done.
feel it. No
Right.
big deal.
And-
Take it off.
Because he goes, I think he said, what did Louis C.K. say when he was like 21? He's like, if you went and your ankle hurt, like they'd fix your ankle.
Right.
He's like, now when you're 50, they go, yeah, that'll happen. Your ankle's just shitty now.
Yeah. My favorite Louis C.K. line, or one of them at least, because God knows he has a ton of them, is talking about when he's tying his shoes, and he said it's like folding a bowling ball in half.
Right.
Like,
I
but
come
yeah,
up
even
for
things
air.
like that. Yeah. You gotta, like, I'm like,
I like hook it on.
yeah, you got to
I like
to the
a
side,
casting.
right? Like a lasso.
Oh, so
That's why I wear long socks. I don't wear ankle socks anymore, dude.
I can't tell you the last
That's
time
terrible.
I didn't wear compression socks.
You
'Cause I hate
need them.
quitters.
Yeah.
I hate bending down and pulling them up.
The falling
Compression
falling
socks
down,
one
yeah.
time in the morning,
Yep.
and you never fucking pull them down again.
Yeah.
And I don't
And
need
then
compression
when you
socks.
take them off at night, it's like, oh,
it feels like
fucking falling out of the sack, right?
Yeah, it's like decasing a sausage.
So you're at Alabama now, or are you going? You're at Alabama, freshman year. Yeah. So how was that, like, sending him off?
Good, yeah. So a lot of tears because he's our oldest.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, we went down. We took the 5 of us down there to drop him off. And by the way, I don't know if you guys remember when you had moved in to college, but it was a shit show.
Oh yeah.
Like, we packed up a van and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if Alabama's ahead of the curve or whatever, but you just drone everything down. And he has a locker waiting for him, mini fridge. Target.com, it's waiting for him at his fucking his storage space. And then when you get there, we had gotten his storage space was already in carts.
Every student gets a storage space?
Every
you
student gets
obviously pay for it.
I guess, yeah. And every student gets his storage space. The dorms are. He lives in Riverside North. His dorm is beautiful, and it's so much better
Yeah, than
it was.
Yeah.
And I graduated college in '93. Wow. but it's so much better. And we had gone down, Annie, Finnegan, Bridget, and Mick and I, and we're dropping them off.
Biggest
and
Italian family in the world.
but so all of a sudden they were like, look at the size of that Asian dude, because you're just crying so much, and Annie's crying so much, and Mick is ice water. Like he's ice, and he has a lot of love for our family. Like he's got a
But he's
good
like, you
gig
guys
going
are
on.
fucking embarrassing me.
But it was Rush Week.
Okay.
For the sororities.
Okay.
So every time he's like hugging his mom goodbye, all of a sudden someone in a fucking sundress, because they have to be dressed to the nines since 8 o'clock in the morning on, and like there's just so much for him to see. It's like a wonderful world. I feel like he really owes me. Like I owe my parents for helping out with college.
I would
did a lot of it.
imagine your kids know they've got it pretty sweet with both mom and dad.
I was one of the kids. I was one of the parents that said, "You guys, from a very young age," and Mick will be a testament to this. I told them at a very young age that they don't matter. I said, "Listen, you guys, we love you more than anything. You're the reason that we exist, but you don't matter. So your opinions on just about anything doesn't matter. I always had the biggest piece of chicken, blah blah blah." And then as they got older, and they did shit, they started to matter a little bit more. We talked about this on Podfathers, and even like during the pandemic, like Mick did so well when it came time to either go back, be in person or something. I said, "You earned it. You make this decision." Like, so every one of my kids like starts to earn decisions. So they've always had that. And like when I tell people that I tell my kids that they don't matter from a very young age, they're like, well, how come they aren't vegan serial killers? But I think it worked out in a very opportune way for me.
Do you punish them?
Yeah, we
you ground them?
So I used to give them a smack on the ass when they had like diapers, like something where you could kind of move them along. And then my kids got big quick, so I was never a hitter when they got older, because what do I do? Even with like Finnegan is like 5'9", and he can do like 10 pull-ups. Like how would I hit him without going to prison? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like what's the thing? But we've always been, it's very easy now with kids to take phones away. You take your kids' phones away.
That's cool. Yeah,
that's like strangling them.
That's like, I'll do anything. I'm sorry. Give it back. Yeah,
it's like taking them off of dialysis.
Choking the life out of them.
Yeah, like it's the easiest.
Pulling the plug on your ventilator.
It's the easiest thing to do. And then I wasn't above, threatening to embarrass them. Like, is particularly my daughter. Like I say, Bridge, this will be bad. What I send you to school and and that's something too, because if you get embarrassed, not that I don't embarrass them on shows like this and stuff, but so I think if you were to do something to them, kind of, man, I sound like a terrible father. But my kids are good.
So my
kids are good.
I don't think I once got grounded. I remember my grandma famously.
They definitely said it, but never followed up.
You never neither. Yeah, my grandma famously said to my mom, "Don't punish yourself," because when you ground a kid, they're in the house all day.
I think my grandma said something.
Yeah, I feel like the women in our families are aligned. And
I don't think you're ever grounded. No.
It'd be like when I was little, if there was like a birthday party, you'd be like,
you can't go to that.
Right. So I'd have them miss like a little.
But then
like
they usually they'd cave.
Then they would let at the last second I'd go, and
yeah.
I just don't even really remember. But I also, for whatever reason, remember having the fear of God for my mother. And then my dad was cool, but she would call him in, like the closer. Like if it was like if Dad came to yell at you, you really fucked up.
Yeah.
But my mom was always like, "Don't fuck with Kathy," and I just kind of knew that, and I think we all just like fell in line because of it and self-policed in a way, and it was weird. I mean, I guess it's like you always hear. It's like you joke like, "I'm gonna lock her in the basement," and then she goes to college. She fucks every guy in the world,
Yeah.
And it's like let the kids be a little bit free, and they actually or they just got lucky. Like maybe if we were assholes, we would have been fucking crack addicts. I don't know. But they never really punished us, and all of us ended up like pretty good.
I just the stakes are a little bit higher, and you'll see as your kids get older. So I've had this conversation with my kids a bunch. So many kids are killing themselves. Not to bring the podcast down.
Yeah.
Like you just read
one of the main topics.
I was gonna say, what show you're on?
Like these beautiful men and women who are doing well in school, and they have so much pressure, and they're just and then some of them are just confused about their identity and all that other shit they're dealing with. But like it just seems like we're hearing about it more and more. So I've always like told my kids, I was like, no matter how mad we are, or no matter how much I play the bad guy, wait till your father gets home type shit.
Yeah.
There is nothing And then I tell them right away. I got arrested in the 7th grade. I spent the night in the 61st precinct
7th grade?
on
For what?
Coney Island Avenue, drunk and disorderly, obstructing traffic, perjury, and assaulting an officer. I spent the night in the 61st
At, like, 13?
precinct. Yeah, about 13. I was taller than you.
Right.
And I was like, there's nothing that we can't get by.
Right.
Unwanted pregnancies, anything, if there is such a thing. Babies are great. But anything,
I was gonna say if there's anything such as wanted pregnancy.
Easy fix. You call
there's
me. I got a
nothing.
guy.
So as
We'll take care of that. Don't worry.
Exactly. You pick up those keys at the head of the stairs. But as a result, like I've had the kids call me and be like, "Listen, I fucked
John's
up."
a frequent flyer. No,
You
but
know,
yeah,
I fucked
I just
up.
hope that they really
Yeah.
take that to heart. You know.
But think about like Evander Holyfield's kid was, I think maybe even the one who wound up being a stud at Georgia, was acting up, and his mom's like, "All right, I'm done with you. I'm calling your father." So she calls Evander Holyfield, who's training in the Catskills, and he's like, "Okay." He gets on his jet. He flies from the fucking Catskills back to Georgia to beat his kid. How do you feel if you're Evander Holyfield? He was the heavyweight champion of the world,
Yeah.
cruiserweight to heavyweight champion of the world. He's flying home to beat you.
Yeah.
Like I've never,
Bro,
like,
I
I've
would
never-
be. I would
on the
have
Right.
like on speed dial. What do they
Yeah.
call it? Like emancipation.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to be emancipated right away.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, my dad is coming to kick my ass
Right.
now. Like, you need to push
Right.
these papers through fast.
No, I'd
Who's my
rather-
dad? I'm glad you asked. Tyson bit his ear off, so he's in a bad mood. Been in a pretty foul mood for the last few years.
Right, yeah. I even my 15-year-old, I bought him cigars the other day, and I told the lady about it. I was like, "Oh, you know, I'm gonna have this." She's like, "You let your 15-year-old smoke cigars?" I said, "What did you do when you were 15?
Yeah.
Like, what would you
Right.
do when you were 15? What's the worst vice you had when you were 15? Having a cigar in the fucking backyard with your
right.
father?
That's the best. Of,
15, I think I was. What year is 15? 15 probably my
is like
sophomore
sophomore
year.
year.
So
15 I was-
yeah, 15 I started letting loose.
Yeah.
15.
Absolutely.
Freshman year, I went to a couple of parties. Sophomore year, I started. throwing
Sophomore
them
year, we
back.
came in very hot.
Sophomore year was the fuck. I remember it still. I came to New York with my friends for the weekend. I came with my family, but they let me spend one night with my friends in a hotel. And that was like one of my first nights, like drinking. Mm-hmm. And like that night, everyone was like, "Geez, fights can drink." So I was doing shots out of a cigar case, like a cheap cigar, like the plastic case.
Yeah.
And I was doing shots out of that. And they're like, "Fights can drink." It was like one of those like,
I'm good at this.
I'm good at this.
Yeah. I just found a new hobby.
Yeah.
Been doing it ever since.
Yeah. Like, okay, I get to impress somebody. Yeah. Give me the bottle.
What's the family vibe when he started working here? Can he come on the show or no?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have another mic?
Yeah, it's over here. You just gotta
Just
slide all
shift
your
these,
mics down.
shift these all down. Do you
Are
want
you
to come
okay?
on? Okay.
Listen, Mick, every couple fights, so they don't have to know
my
about
God.
what
I hope that
I'm
was on
gonna
camera.
do. Right? And I say it's because of you, but we don't mean it. We should
I'm gonna hit
have
the head
fucking
over.
prepped in the car. I miss Podfathers. I miss talking to Clem every week.
I think we'll figure out some. I think we'll figure something out. In the
I
next
called him yesterday.
year
I was
or
like,
so.
I just want to talk to you.
Yeah, I know. When the Mets season ended, I was like, I haven't talked to you in a little while.
Yeah.
How are things? You know.
I went to a bank yesterday to pull out $1,000 that we put in an account, Finnegan and I, from a coin jar. We had a big coin jar, put it in TD Bank 2016. I went to do it yesterday to just buy him a Christmas gift.
Yeah.
It was like for a Disney thing. We've been to Disney since. We just never pulled the money out. And I went, and TD Bank's like, "Oh, it's 2016. You haven't added to it. It went dormant, and now it's been escheated by the state." And I was like, "I want to talk to Clem about
what does
this."
that
Like,
mean, man?
I mean, I have to now petition the state to get my $1,000.
took your
I was
money?
like, "Wait a sec. I gave you my money in your bank savings." They're like, "Yeah."
Just
But
'cause it's dormant?
we'd switched houses, and so they'd sent us stuff,
Oh, so-
and even
yeah.
even the address change stuff wasn't in Finnegan's name, so I guess that stuff just got thrown away
Got it.
by our new thing. So
Stolen
like,
thousand.
but
Yeah,
was
I
like,
got
you
a
know
bet
what I mean?
somewhere
But
about
it's like a
this. Yeah,
Disney
yeah.
thing to buy a Christmas gift
Yeah.
for my 15-year-old. That's Podfather.
That's like
You know what
a
I mean?
moment. And the bank is too. Fuck them. You
Yeah,
know?
100%. I'd love to talk about it with him.
So you're probably how long have you been here? 5
Almost
years?
4 years.
4 years?
Almost 4.
So you're like what freshman in high schoolish when he gets the job here?
8th grade freshman.
Eighth
Yeah.
grade. And did you know Barstool?
I did.
Yeah.
But like my friends like followed it like crazy. They
Yeah.
knew who, like everyone was.
Right. So you're just like a casual. You're aware
Yeah,
of
like,
it,
I
but
knew-
your
yeah.
friends are
Like, I knew
like
some people, but
into
yeah.
it. And he comes home and he's like, "I'm working for Barstool."
Yeah.
And you're what? What's your reaction?
It was cool. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting.
I was gonna say,
it. 'Cause it's, like,
I think it
yeah.
would play well
Well,
in
yeah.
in school and in college.
I will tell you right
Especially
now.
now in college.
College
Like,
has got to be
yeah.
great. Oh, you guys like Barstool? Guess what? You know.
Yeah.
Is it better for you now in college than it was in high school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, by
And
far.
I like so if you look at that age, so I'm an 18-year-old college freshman at an SEC school with a dad who works at Barstool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then a 15-year-old college sophomore, plays football and all that stuff with a dad who's in Barstool. That's kind of cool. An 12-year-old girl who's in 7th grade. I didn't know if it was going to be as
How's that
cool.
play? Yeah.
But there's so much love for the chicks. There's so
Yeah,
much love
right.
for you don't
Like
know.
maybe 10 years ago it wouldn't be so much, but you got Chicks in the
Yeah.
Office and Kelly Keegs and
100%.
and Brianna and all these
Brianna, bringing them home that tie dye stuff.
Yeah.
Like you used to only be like, oh, here's a Chicklets T-shirt that was near my desk, or
Yep.
but I bring Bridget home, a Friday Energy
something
thing.
she actually wants to wear.
She wears it. All the
Yeah.
girls like, oh my god, that's Barstool. I'm telling
Yeah.
you right now, the scope, particularly in New Jersey. I know this isn't a global
Sure.
brand by any stretch of
In our-
imagination, but in our little, northeast,
Yeah.
it's pretty big. I'm the most popular, the coolest dad in Ridgewood,
Yeah.
New Jersey.
I would. I mean, unless there's some fucking
It wasn't. Who was the coolest? Who was the name of the
like an
dude who
actor
could
or
dunk?
something who could dunk.
Mr. Brilson.
Yes,
Yeah, listen. If there's a dad who can dunk, you're second. Dunking
Well, no,
is just
Nate-
like the
Nate
coolest
Burleson.
thing.
Nate Burleson. He used to play professional.
No, I was
football.
good friends with this one. Yeah,
Yeah. So his dad was in.
Wait, did you call
Ridgewood.
Nate Burleson Mr. Burleson?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So he
I
plays.
spin too.
Yeah, he played basketball with his son. So Burleson would show up, pick his kid up, and then throw down a dunk or something.
Yeah, just be like, flex
One
the
of
crowd a little
one of
bit.
his barbecue.
Yeah,
That's the only. Yeah.
yeah, called it a cookout, but it was very.
No, it was. He said, yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's like Willie's cookouts with
Yeah.
tomahawks. But once they had moved, I think they moved to Franklin Lakes. I am
Yeah.
now
You-
officially
The cool
coolest
dad.
Not even fucking
Oh,
close.
I was gonna say they
Give me
must
somebody
be
who's close.
The guys.
You're Gretzky in the whole thing. Like you can double up
Yeah,
the second place guy. I'm still got it.
Has there been any negative? Have you ever been like, man, shut the fuck up, dad, or is there? I feel like
I feel like there's a time I just can't remember.
Yeah.
I'm like,
There was some kid who didn't want to have a play date with one of my kids. I can't remember what it was because of where I worked.
Really?
The parents didn't know us, and they didn't want to be associated
but
with
that's
a
must have
Barstool
been
family.
Yeah.
younger. You're talking about
Yes, a
play
little,
dates
little
and
bit.
shit.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe the 15-year-old was 11 at the time, or something
Right,
like that.
right,
so,
right.
or the
I
might
get
have
worried
been
about
8.
that because I.
What?
I'm
might have
starting-
been Bridget. I could see
Might have been Bridget, maybe like an 8 or 9-year-old
Yeah.
girl. Yeah,
But for you, it's always been
No.
positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking
Yeah,
about
but on
that
that
with
wave.
Josh Wolf and his son. Where Josh Wolf's son had one story. I forget what it is at this point.
It was his cloud connected to the iPad.
yeah.
And his son had a dick pic on his phone. So Josh Wolf saw his son's dick pic, and he was telling that.
But it was
joke
on his
stage.
wife's iPad, so he was like, "Who the fuck's dick is
and
that?"
it was his son, and he told it on stage, and he was kind of like. He was upset about that one, and he since has realized now he's doing comedy too, and the dick pic story kills on stage.
Right, yeah.
So he's like, "Fuck it, let's go." But in the beginning, he was like, don't talk about that.
Well, will you, you share a lot with your kids. That is the serial killer stuff because they're so young now. If I shit myself during karate or something like that, I don't know if I want you to tell everybody. You know what I mean?
See,
I can
I-
almost feel out. And I've told stories about the first
Well,
time.
my
he
kid's
searched-
5 though.
I know, but he'll know, everyone, because I can foresee you doing this for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So this kid, it might fuck him up. You know what I'm saying? Because he's gonna have to process that at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
See, I
before he
was-
even gets to Bridget.
I'm of the
Don't stop.
When I grew up, my parents just always told my embarrassing stories, and obviously it wasn't to this audience. But any dinner we were at, they're like, "You'll never guess what John Henry did," and it was I never when I got older and I started seeing those movies and TV shows, the scene where it's like, "Don't show my baby pictures, my little penis is out." I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck do
Yeah.
they care?
Yeah.
Who gives? People actually give a shit about that?
Yeah,
And-
listen, if my kid can't handle that, I'm just
But also, when
iron
you're
sharpens
doing
iron. Let's
you're
go.
inspiring your
Right.
kid. You're inspiring your kid to get successful. Because guess what? Now I tell all my parents embarrassing stories, and I get to tell it to a fucking microphone, not to my grandfather at dinner.
Right. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I'll get my
It was
dumb
funny
dad
that-
did the other day.
So
Yeah.
so he didn't really shit himself. It was like a little skid mark. And then we go home, and he was like, "Don't tell anybody." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I won't tell anybody here." But
Just so you know, couple of 100,000 people have heard about it.
it was just so funny to be like, my son shit himself at karate. I'm just too much. That's always been a problem of mine. I'm a slave
You
to the
have
joke.
to tell people that.
I'm a slave to the
Yeah.
to the story, to the within reason. I certainly I think that is within the shareable realm. A lot of people
100%
don't,
is. I wonder though when he turns 11 and you start having the 20-minute showers. You know what goes on in a 20-minute shower?
Right.
It's fucking cool. You know what I mean? You get your first.
Bro, I would rip hours. I was like, I'll go so long they'll be like, what the fuck?
The water bill.
A 20-minute, you know what he's doing. An hour, you're like, what the fuck?
Right.
Could be
I hope
happening
you were
there.
doing that other thing. What are you doing in
Bro,
there?
I
Get
would
a
be there
room.
in an eternity. I took notoriously long.
But and then I know that you'll navigate that perfectly, but I just don't know how I would. I know, the first time I had caught him with any kind of porn on his phone, he was so young, I could talk about it openly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was Messi hat trick. Messi when I talk about porn.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
Shit porn. Like Ronaldo header, boob. And then, Barcelona score, a boob with hand. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing. And then I had to tell him, Mom.
I thought a
sees
Messi
this.
hat trick. I was like, what the fuck is a Messi?
That must
Messi
be-
hat trick.
That's a category on Pornhub I've never heard
on your
of.
head, yeah.
God damn, Mick, talk to me after.
I was like, by the way, the ghost of your grandparents see everything you put on your phone.
Is that what he said?
No.
That'd be great.
I think comedian has a bit about that. Be like, imagine you get old and you die, and you get to heaven, and you're like, oh great, I get eternal peace, and it's like, come here, time to watch your kids jerk off. You're like, this is heaven.
It was never masturbation for me, but I don't know if it was told to me or whatever, but I always was thinking about my grandma.
I was definitively not.
You were not thinking about that?
No,
Didn't give a
dude.
fuck.
Not once with a hard dick have I ever thought about my grandma. And
Oh,
I'll
no,
say
no,
that
no,
on
no.
the record.
That's what I'm saying. Not about sex stuff, but I was being bad at
My
school or whatever.
grandparents my one grandmother who died when I was young was too young for me to care about.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, my grandparents all lived until I was an adult.
Right.
So I never had anyone up there that I thought about.
What's weird is I used to think about your grandma too. She had her fastball. We went to high school together.
Yeah, I would imagine it's pretty cool. I would ride the wave, man. I would tell a lot of people at school that I'm the son of large.
Nickname was Barstool. Right a couple of weeks into going to Alabama. I don't know if it's stuck, but
Hell
that's. I think it's differentiating.
good thing.
You know.
Yeah, because I know during Pledge Ship I would have the Barstool golf shirts, and they'd be like, "Why? You can't wear that." And then they would find out that you work for Barstool, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah.
But
It's
even now,
why the
they
fuck are you
have
wearing
these.
that?
Like Shaq DJ'd one of their parties. That's what college is.
That's
now.
crazy.
So he's going to be on.
But I think you're right. That's Alabama SEC college.
Right.
You can still go to a lame ass college. You go to Fordham and you're still just drinking at the bar on the corner. And
Yeah.
you maybe have a party at a house.
Yeah, they asked
I
him to
think.
be
I
on
don't know, maybe.
one of the social chairs, and he's like, "Oh, we're going to get these guys," and he starts ripping off people who are going to play at the frat house.
Oh, yesterday, yeah.
And it's crazy.
Kodak
They
Black's
throw out
manager.
names.
Kodak Black?
They're all people that sit
he's
down with
manager in
Caleb.
Alabama.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
Unbelievable, man.
it's a different
insane.
story, man. And by the time your kid gets there, and by the time your kid gets there, it's going to be 100%.
I told you I got a guy.
You've got New Year's goals, and HelloFresh is here to help you achieve them. Skip the grocery store and take control of your time and budget with delicious recipes delivered right to your door. Fast and fresh recipes. HelloFresh's latest line of meals featuring robust flavors and filling portions are ready in less than 15
I'm
minutes.
so excited to be done with this so I can go home and cook my firecracker meatballs.
Enjoy taste and quality done quick with recipes like falafel power bowls, seared steak and potatoes with a béarnaise sauce, Southwest pork and bean burritos, or what were you going to do?
Firecracker meatballs.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
With HelloFresh,
Hall of Fame meal.
eating well in the new year can help you be stress-free and delicious. With over 35 weekly recipes, they have the options you're looking for to help you achieve your goals. Choose calorie smart or carb smart recipes. Customize or select your meals by swapping proteins or sides. You can upgrade your proteins. You can add a protein to a veggie dish. It's all yours a la carte. So go to HelloFresh.com. They did it again.
Nah, I've already done this ad, so I know it. It's 21, baby.
21 free meals. I haven't done this one yet. HelloFresh.com/KFC21. Code KFC21 for 21 free meals.
7 weeks of free meals.
It's basically 42 if you're eating alone. 7 weeks of food for free. That's like half the year.
Yeah, it's 1/6 the year.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. Just do the math. How much you order? $40 per meal. Like if you're ordering delivery,
At least
$30-$40. $50
you're saving,
if
you're
you're
saving
making
millions of dollars.
like it is.
It's $1 million.
It's so good. It is. Dude, I've been doing this. I checked. I've been doing it for 3 years. I've been doing HelloFresh,
And they haven't sent you one free box yet.
and I got one free box.
Go to HelloFresh.com/KFC21, promo code KFC21 for 21 free meals plus free shipping. So we got NASCAR coming up. We'll always forever be covering boxing and the like, right?
Yeah.
I know that you've interviewed Jake Paul before.
Yes.
He's been a part of, the show. He's a good guest and all that. But also you've been very realistic about what he is as a fighter. If you just grabbed some, like Dominican kid off the street who's training in a real boxer, who would win?
Equal weights?
Yeah.
So if it was a 190-pound boxer versus Jake Paul, a boxer would win every time. I've spoken.
Like would it be a fight? Like would it go the distance?
No,
would it
Jake
be?
Paul would be. I think Jake Paul would be an excellent bouncer, and I think he has the opportunity to be a very good amateur boxer at some point. But I see nothing in Jake right now that translates to being a very good professional boxer. He's flat-footed. He doesn't move backwards well. He has next to no defense. He telegraphs his punches. I mean, all these things. That being said, he can beat up anybody at Barstool.
Sure,
He can beat up any influencer that he steps into. He can beat up any retired MMA guy. I mean, he's as tough as you can get until you start fighting boxers.
Real boxers.
Yeah,
But if it's like I think everyone would agree, like a professional boxer right now in his prime, sure. What about someone who's like, they're not professional yet either, but they are training for real. I've been doing it their whole life, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It would still
Then
wipe the
it
floor.
all depends on his chin, and I don't think his chin has really been tested except for that time he went back on the ropes against Tyrone Woodley, which should have been ruled a knockdown because the ropes had saved him from being knocked down. So, like Jake and Logan, I spoke with Triple H at the Canelo fight, and he was like, Large, I got to be honest, I've had to push through so many celebrities who've come to do wrestling. You think about how many celebrities have been in wrestling
course.
rings.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a kid, you've always
Totally.
had, that type of, and even wrestlers who aren't athletic.
Yeah.
Like wheeling out Andre the Giant towards the end of his career was not an easy thing to fluff up for them. He's like, this kid is an
he's
elite athlete. I feel the same way
flying
about
through the air and taking bumps and shit. It's wild.
I feel the same way about Jake. I think he's a very good athlete, and I think he's a generational promoter. You haven't seen promoters like that since, Conor McGregor, who has been, hasn't won a real fight in such a long time. Then before that, probably Adolf Hitler. Like, you got a bunch of people that kind of believe in that shit. So I think Jake Paul is elite as far as that goes. But when I look at the light heavyweight division where he would exist, he wouldn't do very well. He could go into any gym and be competitive with people or be better than people who are around the same year and a half into it, like 100%.
Sure.
But that leap.
But I guess that's what
Right,
that's
leap, he doesn't
that's
have
where I
that.
give him credit is like the argument should be like what other YouTubers could he beat up, because that's what he is.
Yes,
and he's
100%.
made he's got people even debating could he beat up a real boxer.
Yeah.
And the answer is no, but the fact that the question's even being asked is a testament to I think like
Somebody
how
told me,
well he
if he beats up Tommy Fury though, then everything's proven, right?
Yeah.
Tommy Fury is
He's
terrible.
same
terrible.
thing, right?
Tommy Fury is Jake Paul without the personality.
Yeah, Jake
so
Paul with an
it
accent,
doesn't
right?
matter. But I will tell you right now, even though I say he's not a good boxer, he is very good for boxing. The first time I had paid for a Jake Paul fight, and by the way, he is very good to me.
Yeah,
He came on. Remember when I said, "Oh, my son's a fan. Get him on."
Yeah,
spoke
he's
to my
cool.
son.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
big.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But after one of his fights, one of my kids said to me, "Dad, Montana Love. Next time he fights, can you let me know?" I'm like, you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
that.
for
I've been
sure.
dying for you to
I watched that fight too.
Montana Love was fun, right?
I like
His
Montana
first-
Love. He's got a sweet tooth. He likes to eat candy.
Yeah, and he brings in the French bulldog. If he's fighting Mexican, he brings in the sombrero. You know what I mean? That's old school Mayweather
that's,
shit.
for a
you
dead
know?
sport, that's what you need.
Yeah, Amanda Serrano, like to put life into this.
He's very good to the boxers and fights for MMA rights and all that sort of
Says
shit.
all the
he's very
right
smart.
things.
He puts Dana in a corner with that shit.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you know that you can't pay everyone all the money in the world, but he makes it seem that way.
Yeah.
And then, but it is interesting. I do think that he'll probably never fight a real boxer, right? Because
Why? Why would he?
Right. But also, because he says things like, I am a legit boxer. Well, then you either got to be behind closed doors, you got to admit, like, oh, yeah, I'm just like a promoter who's stoking the fire, or you got to, like, then prove it and fight a legit boxer. But yeah, he'll never do that because the money train stops then.
I think you guys right now, if we put you guys, just you two, in a room for 15 minutes, you could find 10 people that Jake Paul should fight. If he fights twice a year and does those 10 people that he won't lose to, but he'll sell tickets, that's Jake Paul's next 5 years.
For sure.
He's
and it's
in
gonna be
such a sweet spot
he
to all
did
of a
it.
sudden fight.
And
You know
earned it,
what
by
I
the way,
mean?
because he is in shape and you do train and all that.
Yeah,
So
he beat up Joe Manganiello. Get that.
Yeah.
I paid for that, right? That handsome son of a bitch. All right, that's one. You know what I mean? Let's bring him in. That's two. Honestly. So, yeah, so I'm a
That'd be
fan,
awesome.
but I'm skeptical.
All right, so the NASCAR show, Twisted History. But be on the lookout for Podfathers. We'll figure something out there, I think. And
Twisted History is the bane of my existence. I've never worked so hard on a project consistently. I write a term paper every week.
I know you guys go hard on that,
and so it's probably the thing that I'm most proud of.
Yeah,
and
it's polished and it's well done.
Yeah.
So check it out, and everybody follow Large on social media.
Yep.
Make sure you subscribe to KFC Radio on YouTube to get all the video content. Subscribe, comment, like, and make sure you turn on the bell notifications so you know whenever new video content drops.
I want to say something, but the video has to be faster. That's it.